When we get sick, our first question is usually how. We're looking for a germ, a virus, some kind of biological reason. But what if the more important question wasn't how, but why? Today, we are diving deep into a worldview that does just that, a place where getting sick has a much deeper, much more personal meaning. Just listen to this quote for a second. It paints this picture of a world where some unseen force just erupts, and suddenly everything is thrown into chaos and fear. And that feeling? That's exactly what we're talking about today. We're about to explore a story where an illness isn't just some random biological fluke, but a deliberate act sent from a spiritual world. Okay, so to really see how this worldview plays out in real life, let's jump back to the early 1980s. We're going to unravel a true-life mystery that became known as Juliana's disease.
So picture this. It's 1983, a small village on the Ugandan border. Things are pretty normal. And then one day, this handsome trader shows up. And he's selling this absolutely beautiful cloth. So beautiful, they call it Juliana. And pretty soon, it's the thing everyone wants. It's a status symbol. It's a sign of wealth. It's an object of desire. But then, things take a really dark turn. One by one, the women who manage to get their hands on this Juliana cloth, they start getting sick. And it's this terrifying, mysterious illness, a wasting disease, that just seems to drain the life right out of them.
So the villagers are desperate. They need an answer. And the one they land on isn't scientific. For them, the conclusion was chillingly simple. That handsome trader? He was a witch. The beautiful cloth? It was cursed. And this sickness wasn't a disease. It was a powerful, evil spell. They weren't fighting a germ. They were in a spiritual battle for their lives.
And this, right here, this is the absolute core of it all. See, even if you could go back in time and tell them a virus was to blame, it just wouldn't be a satisfying answer. Science is great at explaining how you get sick, but it often has nothing to say about the deeper, more human question, why me? Why did this happen to me and not the person living right next door?
So, to really understand the logic of what happened with Juliana's disease, we have to grasp this really key distinction. This worldview basically splits the idea of a cause into two different types. Here's how it breaks down. On one hand, you've got the immediate cause. That's the how. It's the scientific bit, the virus, the germ, the car accident. But on the other hand, there's the ultimate cause, and that's the why me. This view says, yeah, sure, a germ might have been the tool that made you sick, but someone or something sent that germ your way. In this world, there are no accidents. All right, so if a germ is just the weapon, who's the one pulling the trigger? Well, in this worldview, there are a few key supernatural players on the field. Let's meet the usual suspects. First up, you've got the ancestors. You can think of them as spiritual guardians, kind of like a supernatural neighborhood watch for their descendants. Now, mostly they're benevolent, they protect you, but if you break social rules or disrespect tradition, they might send a small illness your way, as a little warning shot. Or, even worse, they could just withdraw their protection, leaving you totally vulnerable to other more dangerous forces. And that is where witches and sorcerers come in. And we're not talking about storybook characters here. In this worldview, these are agents of pure evil. They get the blame for all the really big, awful stuff. We're talking serious illness, terrible misfortune, conflict, even death. They are believed to be actively working to cause harm and chaos. And then there's a third cause, and this one's a little different. It's not a person or a spirit. It's this concept called pollution or ritual impurity. This is totally impersonal. You get sick not because someone cursed you, but because you messed up. You failed to perform a necessary ritual, like a cleansing after being near a dead body. Your own inaction basically left the door wide open for sickness to walk in. Now, you might be thinking, okay, interesting history lesson. But these beliefs are incredibly powerful right now, today. Just look at this study from Siskay in South Africa. They asked traditional healers what was causing their patients' illnesses. The results are, well, they're pretty staggering. Check this out. In rural areas, a whopping 72% of illnesses were blamed on witchcraft. And even in the cities, it's still almost half at 45%. Let's just park on that number for a second. 72%. Think about that. That single number tells you that for a huge number of people, witchcraft isn't some fringe belief. No, it's the primary, go-to explanation for why people get sick. So that leads to the big question, why? Why are these beliefs so powerful, so persistent? What is it about them that resonates so deeply?
Well, the answer is that they provide a very powerful, structured way to make sense out of suffering.
Just listen to this first-hand account from a young man named Sizwe. He's explaining how his friend got AIDS. He says, the jealous one slips the muthi into Jake's girlfriend's food. The next time Jake has sex with her, he gets the poison. See how it all fits together? It's a complete story. The uncle's jealousy is the motive. The muthi is the magical weapon. The girlfriend is the unsuspecting delivery system. In one single narrative, you have a perfect explanation for social tension, for misfortune, and for illness. It makes perfect, tragic sense within this framework. So you can see just how psychologically powerful this is, right? A belief in witchcraft takes the terrifying randomness out of life and gives it a face and a name. It lets you point to an external, evil force as the cause of your problems, which can be a huge relief if you're feeling guilty or anxious. And, most importantly, it provides a direct, concrete answer to that agonizing, universal question, why is this happening to me? And here's where this all becomes so critical. Understanding this isn't just some academic thought experiment. It has literal, life-and-death consequences for public health today, especially when modern medicine comes into contact with these deeply, deeply held beliefs. I mean, think about it. Any health program that just waltzes in and dismisses these beliefs is pretty much doomed from the start. Why on earth would you use a condom to stop a virus if you're convinced the real threat is a curse sent by a jealous neighbor? The only way forward is to bridge these two worlds. The most successful programs are the ones that acknowledge the ultimate cause, the witchcraft, while at the same time treating the immediate cause, the virus. This means working with traditional healers who are trusted authorities, and it means reframing modern tools. A condom suddenly isn't just a piece of latex. It's a preventive charm, a powerful shield that can block an evil spell from getting to you. So all of this leaves us with a pretty big question. Not just about them, but about us. Science is absolutely incredible at answering the how. But when tragedy strikes, when we are faced with that fundamentally human question, why me? Science is often silent. And that's when all of us, no matter where we live, turn to other tools to find answers. Things like faith, philosophy, stories. The worldview we explored today is just a powerful reminder that the need to find meaning in our suffering is one of the most universal things about being human.